What if there were a secret prison built to hold Dracula, the Loch Ness Monster, and dozens of other paranormal creatures? That's exactly what President Curtis uncovers. But before long, he'll realize the real monster was never the one locked behind bars. The episode opens with two kids playing along the beach. A frisbee thrown by the older brother lands too far away, so his little sister walks toward the shoreline to retrieve it. Out of nowhere, a massive creature rises from the ocean, leaving the little girl frozen in fear. Before anything worse can happen, a lifeguard rushes in to help, but he's immediately stopped by the Coast Guard, who insist they'll handle the situation. They barely have time to argue before FBI agents show up, followed moments later by the CIA, each claiming jurisdiction over the case. Within seconds, the entire beach turns into complete chaos as every agency fights over who gets to deal with the monster.
Hey, Troy, what the hell?
Sorry, Bob. I've always been MIB.
Yes, but you've never been majestic level.
Hey, what the hell?
Sorry, Tyler.
The argument comes to an abrupt end when President Curtis arrives and takes command. With a single order, he shuts everyone down and makes it clear that from that moment on, nobody will act without his approval.
I can't hear anything that's going on.
We thought we were
My
taking
partner
it from
15
here,
years
but the
just
president
revealed
is.
there
For the first time in my life,
I will never
feel
trust anyone
hope.
again.
I couldn't parse most of that, so I'm assuming the Coast Guard is taking it from here?
No!
Okay, that's all you had to say! God,
Later, back at the White House, the president is briefed on what happened. Everything points to the creature being none other than the Loch Ness Monster. But what really catches everyone's attention isn't the monster itself. It's the uniform it was wearing. Banks immediately recognizes it and reveals that it belongs to the Triangle, a top-secret maximum security prison hidden inside the Bermuda Triangle. Built exclusively to imprison monsters and all kinds of paranormal entities, they even joke that it's basically Guantanamo for supernatural creatures.
Corrupt guards? Or do you think it goes all the way up to the warden?
I don't get paid to think. I mean, I do, a little, but I get results through action. It's time the Triangle got a surprise inspection, Marine style. White gloves and armored boots, with fine-toothed combs on the toes of the boots.
3D printed to fit the insides of asses. I am so pumped for this.
Good.
Banks discovers this isn't an isolated incident. Over the past several years, multiple inmates have escaped from the facility. And strangely enough, every one of them had already been officially declared dead before vanishing. Even more suspicious, every escape took place while the same warden was in charge, leading them to believe that someone on the inside may be helping the prisoners break out. Not wanting to waste any time, Curtis orders a surprise inspection of the prison. But if he wants to uncover the truth, he needs someone on the inside, so he assigns O'Doyle to infiltrate the facility by posing as a newly arrested inmate. The problem is that O'Doyle is physically incapable of lying. To push him over the edge, the president starts mocking him and making fun of his leprechaun heritage, hoping he'll finally snap. O'Doyle keeps his cool the entire time and even admits that he hates being half leprechaun, so the insults don't bother him at all. But the moment Curtis brings up his mother, O'Doyle finally loses it and smacks him across the head with a stapler. The plan works perfectly. Now O'Doyle has a legitimate reason to be sent to the Triangle as a dangerous criminal, while Curtis and Banks head there to carry out the official inspection.
Damn, can't believe I got put next to the guy who assaulted the president with a stapler. What'd they get you for?
Lured some schoolgirls into the woods, made them stab each other, but they got me on tax evasion.
Meanwhile, President Curtis and Banks make their way to the Triangle. During the flight, they learn that the strange anomalies surrounding the Bermuda Triangle prevent Air Force One from getting too close, forcing them to switch aircraft before crossing the perimeter. Their pilot turns out to be none other than Amelia Earhart. She never actually died. She became trapped inside the Bermuda Triangle decades ago. Since then, she's become the only pilot capable of safely navigating the area, making her the go-to person for transporting anyone in or out of the prison. On the way, they're attacked by several flying creatures that patrol the Triangle's skies. But Amelia proves exactly why she's the best pilot for the job, expertly dodging every attack without breaking a sweat. Because she never lands inside the Triangle, Curtis and Banks have to finish the trip by parachuting down into the prison.
Huge fan! Thank you for all you've done for Americans and women and lesbians!
You're welcome! Wait, people are still doing labels?
Curtis and Banks finally arrive at the prison, where they're welcomed by its warden, Ken Jeffries, a former Marine who quickly bonds with the president over their military backgrounds. Before long, the two are swapping stories from their days in the Corps, turning the conversation into an unexpected moment of camaraderie. Meanwhile, O'Doyle arrives alongside the latest group of inmates. The Triangle houses every kind of paranormal creature imaginable: vampires, ghosts, mutants, aliens, and just about any monster that's committed crimes on US soil. No matter how dangerous or powerful they are, they're all treated like ordinary prisoners. After completing the intake process, O'Doyle is issued a prison uniform, assigned an inmate number, and escorted to his cell. Once inside the warden's office, Curtis gets straight to the point and questions Jeffries about the string of prison escapes over the past few years. Jeffries admits the situation is serious and reveals that, out of more than 1,000 guards working at the facility, there are only 50 people he truly trusts, and every one of them is a former Marine. Even so, he insists that no one on the inside is helping the inmates escape.
Guys, maybe we could take a look at the site of the Loch Ness Monster escape.
I mean, it's just a wall with a big hole in it, but if you really think looking at it will help.
Sorry, I brought my boss.
Meanwhile, O'Doyle begins settling into his role as a new inmate. It doesn't take long for him to realize he'll be living among every kind of monster and paranormal entity imaginable. Fortunately, he's already familiar with most of them. One of the soul collectors, for example, can only attack anyone who makes direct eye contact with it, so simply looking away is enough to stay safe. Convinced there's something much bigger behind the prison breaks, O'Doyle quietly starts inspecting every corner of the facility using his scanning abilities. But his behavior catches the attention of an inmate named Metal Detectoid, whose unique power is analyzing everything happening around him. Feeling like someone's stealing his spotlight, Metal Detectoid challenges O'Doyle. The fight is over almost instantly when O'Doyle drops him with a single punch before slamming his head onto a table, making it clear he's anything but an easy target. At the same time, Jeffries decides to prove there's no conspiracy inside the prison and takes Curtis to the exact location where the Loch Ness Monster escaped. There, they find a massive hole torn through one of the containment walls. The warden explains that the cell was protected by 3 layers of electrified steel, but admits the system simply wasn't built to hold a creature as enormous as Nessie. Even so, Banks remains skeptical. He finds it hard to believe that a maximum security prison could fail in such a basic way.
Sir, this is getting ridiculous. You've completely dropped your standards and are letting this guy slide on everything because he's a Marine.
That's accurate.
But
Banks decides to investigate on his own. He climbs onto a conveyor belt, hoping it'll lead him to whatever lies beyond the restricted area. Along the way, his system offers to disable its safety protocols so he can move freely, but he chooses to keep them active and follow the rules. After traveling a short distance, the conveyor suddenly ends, sending Banks crashing down to a lower level, where he's met with a truly horrifying sight. Meanwhile, a mysterious inmate with telepathic abilities approaches O'Doyle and reveals that he already knows he's working for the president. But instead of exposing him, he offers to help. He explains that O'Doyle has been searching in the wrong place because the prison's real secret isn't a person. It's a hidden location buried somewhere inside the facility.
Jesus!
prisoner not found. Why am I not surprised?
As soon as he gets back on his feet, Banks comes across a damaged android and decides to access its memory banks, hoping to find out who killed it and bring those responsible to justice.
You said to double down if you broke protocol again.
Oh my god. If I do something actually bad, you can make it hurt. Until then, override and give—
As Banks reviews the android's memories, he witnesses the moments leading up to its death. Two names stand out: Hernandez and Haber. After identifying them, he decides to track down Hernandez, since he was the only one who seemed to question the morality of what was being done to the android. But when Banks pulls up his file, he discovers that Hernandez is dead as well. Meanwhile, O'Doyle puts his plan into motion to uncover Nessie's whereabouts. The creature warns him that if he goes looking for the truth, he probably won't make it out alive. Later, when the guards begin locking everyone back in their cells, they stop O'Doyle. They've already realized he's become suspicious of both them and the prison's secretive procedures.
Not you two. You know what happens when inmates try to find out if we're corrupt, don't you?
You reveal your corruption.
Realizing O'Doyle isn't an easy opponent, one of the guards calls in Metal Detectoid to take him down. O'Doyle and Metal Detectoid immediately clash, but the monster quickly realizes he can't withstand O'Doyle's overwhelming strength. O'Doyle tells him he'll never win by relying on brute force alone because he spent his entire life fighting his own inner demons. The guards try to overwhelm him, but O'Doyle is so enraged that he refuses to stop fighting. As a last resort, they unleash a goat-like creature whose razor-sharp horns are meant for combat. Even that isn't enough to bring him down.
Not fighting them for a pack of cigs, but I would do it for a picture of your wife.
Deal.
Meanwhile, Curtis and Jeffries are casually singing together. During the conversation, Curtis admits that he genuinely admires the incredible job Jeffries has done keeping so many monsters under control. But Jeffries confesses that the prison isn't being run the way he wishes it were. As Jeffries' song becomes more and more intense, Curtis jokingly tells him to tone it down because it's starting to sound a little too...
Deaths will be more!
Oh, whoa! Okay, a little extreme. I didn't know you go full Nazi.
Aren't people who call people Nazis the real Nazis?
Nope. Answer your phone.
Just then, they receive an incoming call.
Fight in the yard. A new lepranoid killed 20% of cell block D.
Curtis explains to Jeffries that the leprechaunoid responsible for all the recent deaths is actually O'Doyle.
Oh, quite the oorah move.
Right? But you can bring him up here. He won't be causing you any more trouble.
Instead of getting upset, Jeffries congratulates Curtis on the brilliant strategy. He admits that planting O'Doyle inside the prison as an inmate was a clever move. Curtis then asks him to hand O'Doyle over so they can get him out of the facility before anyone else is killed. Jeffries agrees without hesitation. He presses a button and several guards enter the room, but not to help. Instead, he orders them to arrest Curtis. Inside the Bermuda Triangle, he explains, the president's authority means absolutely nothing. The guards immediately attack, beating Curtis until he loses consciousness. When Curtis regains consciousness, he finds O'Doyle beside him. O'Doyle explains that something changed while he was living among the monsters. He used to hate them, but now he's realized that many of them are capable of kindness. Even the radioactive monster is still chained up right next to them. The moment the guards realize all 3 prisoners are awake, they activate a set of spinning blades that begin tearing into them.
Imagine every scream brings your mother closer to orgasm. What?
Just then, a guard enters to inspect the collection tanks and notices they haven't harvested any screams from the 3 prisoners. Concerned, Jeffries personally comes down to find out what's gone wrong.
You're seriously doing a Monsters, Inc.?
I told you I was!
Jeffries explains that the entire system is built around connecting doors directly to children's bedrooms so they can harvest their screams.
We're eventually going to connect them to children's closets.
And then, of course, come the giggles.
When he realizes the equipment isn't working, he flies into a rage and orders his staff to inspect every wire in the facility, demanding that this time they produce much more intense screams. Meanwhile, Banks reaches the room where Curtis, O'Doyle, and the radioactive monster are being held captive. Disguised as one of the guards, she learns that even the president himself has been locked inside the torture chamber. Taking advantage of a brief distraction, she grabs a stun device, incapacitates the guard, and immediately tries to hack into the prison's systems. But the security protocol responds by setting the servers on fire.
What do you think? Do you like it?
What the fuck? Why am I on fire?
I did what you asked. You're trying to hack into a federal prison.
Once the system fails, every cell in the prison swings open, setting all the monsters free. Some immediately turn on each other, while others take the opportunity to get revenge on the guards who kept them imprisoned for years. Among them are creatures that resemble those from Pan's Labyrinth, along with Dracula himself, who finally gets payback against the guard who tortured them for so long.
Check out me, Dracula, in Monster Squad, 1987.
Watching the chaos unfold, Jeffries realizes every monster has escaped, including the haunted car that once tried to kill him years earlier. After freeing the group, Banks tells them they shouldn't split up again. She's realized that no matter what lessons they try to learn, they always end up finding each other again. But they don't have time to waste because a strange creature that looks suspiciously like a minion suddenly attacks them. As they make their way out of the prison, even more monsters cross their path, including what appears to be an innocent little girl.
You wanna play a game? It's called Oopsies Killsies.
Nobody look at her. She can't hurt you if you don't look.
I already did.
Yeah, obviously I did. I said, guys, to draw everyone's attention to her.
Yeah, I looked at her too.
Without warning, the girl's body splits open, revealing a much larger creature hidden inside. It's a monstrous fusion made up of every creature O'Doyle fought earlier in the episode. Just when it seems there's no way out, Amelia swoops in with her plane and rescues them at the very last second. Once they're safely away, Curtis, Banks, and O'Doyle set out to find Jeffries, who's already packed his bags and is preparing to flee. Curtis stops him and declares that he finally knows who the real monster has been all along.
Obviously, they gave me a trophy for it.
Curtis and Jeffries engage in a final fight. During the struggle, Curtis shoves him backward, sending one of Jeffries' trophies crashing onto his chest. Ironically, it's an award recognizing him as a true monster. At that exact moment, one of the collection tanks suddenly fills to the top. That's when they realize it was never powered by screams at all. It runs on irony.
Didn't he just tape microchips and wires to the outside of a scuba tank with a horn on it?
Sometime later, Finch creates a communication system that allows the president to contact any of the monsters whenever necessary, including Amelia.
Of course, sir. And do I get a secretary? Is she gonna be hot?
I'll see what's in the budget.
Amelia is eventually placed in charge of several monsters, who are now receiving an education and beginning to thrive academically, something that makes Curtis incredibly proud. At the end of the day, the president finally gets a well-earned moment of peace, relaxing in his bathtub.
Prison.
Meanwhile, the monsters continue fighting each other, but now they do it purely for fun, enjoying the freedom they've finally earned.
Thank you, and God bless America.